Today, let's talk about a film where a scientist fixates on reviving his family members lost in a car crash. The story kicks off with William Foster, a scientist eagerly anticipating a donor's arrival for his scientific experiment. The noise of a helicopter signals the arrival of the lifeless donor's body. William starts the process of moving the consciousness of a deceased soldier into a robot. He begins the transfer of the soldier's neural data and then transfers it into the robot's memory. After the transfer finishes, the newly activated robot springs to life. William tries to explain the robot's current situation and objective, but it suddenly panics, tearing at its mechanical parts in a frenzy, until William switches it off. William attempts to persuade Jones that the robot has communicated this time, and they're on the brink of achieving success. However, Jones remains unconvinced by the outcome. Returning home, William finds his wife Mona preparing for a weekend getaway. Ed shows up and notifies Mona of the experiment's failure. Mona worries about potential repercussions for people. Despite this, William and his family embark on their weekend trip. While driving at night amidst rain, a sudden appearance of a truck startles them. William skillfully avoids a collision, but a tree unexpectedly falls on their car, sending it careening off the road and into a nearby river. He later regains consciousness only to discover the tragic loss of his entire family. He pulls out all their lifeless bodies from the car. William calls Ed, requesting him to gather the necessary equipment to duplicate his family's brain data. Ed feels frightened at the sight of the bodies, but William insists on initiating the brain copying process. Meanwhile, William heads to the lab to try and replicate his deceased family. Ed cautions William about the illegality and risks involved, highlighting the potential for mistakes. Nevertheless, William remains determined in his pursuit. Ed reveals the pods designed for human cloning. William asks Ed to dispose of his family's bodies. Ed brings the pods to William's house, but can only arrange 3, falling short of the needed 4. This leads William to grapple with the decision of which family member will not be cloned. William writes the names of each family member on separate pieces of paper and requests Ed to choose one randomly. However, Ed declines and takes matters into his own hands, leaving the room. William takes charge and selects a slip, revealing Zoe's name. He is instructed to procure a generator since the pods must maintain an uninterrupted power supply, even for just 10 seconds. William gathers numerous batteries. Ed informs him that the clones will emerge in 17 days, but the predicament concerning Zoe remains unresolved. William decides to erase Zoe's memories from the other family members' minds. Ed wishes him luck and leaves. William proceeds to wipe out all of Zoe's memories from the other family members' consciousness. The cops knock on his door, questioning him about the missing batteries, but he denies any knowledge of them. Jones meets Ed, instructing him to convey a message to William. If their latest attempt fails, the experiment will end. Ed notifies William about the situation. To avoid suspicion, William heads to the lab to make an appearance. When he gets back home, Matt's teacher visits to inquire about Matt. Ed informs William that his wife is working, and the kids are skipping school, prompting William to realize he must explain their absence to prevent visitors asking about his family. He sends messages to everyone connected to his wife and kids, citing illness as the reason for their absence for the upcoming days. Meanwhile, William persists in his attempts to transfer memories, but each endeavor falls short, leaving him perplexed about what crucial element he's overlooking. The 17-day period elapses, and Ed arrives, yet William states he's still unprepared. Ed notifies William that remaining in the pod will lead to rapid aging. Determined to halt this aging process, William decides to remove them from the pod and induce a coma until his experiment yields success. He continues scrutinizing his past experiments, seeking the cause of their failure, but despite his efforts, the answer eludes him. Frustrated, he considers terminating his wife's clone. However, a sudden call from Jonas inquiring about Project 345 interrupts his thoughts. At that moment, William touches his wife and starts receiving neural signals. He swiftly ends the call with Jonas and contacts Ed to demonstrate what's happening. They both arrive at the conclusion that past failures stemmed from transferring consciousness into metallic bodies. This time, however, they plan to transfer it into real bodies, ensuring a successful outcome. William proceeds with transferring his wife's memory into the clone body, allowing her to regain consciousness. Subsequently, he carefully places her into a sleep state before proceeding to transfer memories into his children. Finally, he starts erasing Zoe's memories from the house. The following morning, William wakes up to witness everyone engaging in their usual routines. His wife heads out for a jog, and the kids have breakfast. Seeing this, he feels a sense of achievement that he has succeeded. However, his wife experiences stomach pain while jogging and returns home. William receives a call from Ed, who informs him about obtaining a new donor. He shares this news with Mona and heads to the lab. In the laboratory, the team is all set to implant memories into the robot, but William refuses, claiming the data is flawed. Ed cautions him that the entire project might get terminated, and any missing cloning equipment could land them in prison. William steps away, goes to the restroom, and uploads his own memories onto the drive. Later, he tells Ed about his plan to transfer his own memories into the robot. Back at home, Mona approaches William, expressing her concerns about having trouble recalling certain things. William starts developing an algorithm to transfer his memories into Project 345. In the midst of his work, his daughter wakes up distressed, remembering an accident. He reassures her that it was just a bad dream, soothes her, and helps her fall back asleep. He then erases the memory of the accident from her mind. Mona enters the room and witnesses William altering his daughter's memories. This prompts her to demand an explanation. William discloses to her that she is a clone and that the original Mona has passed away. The following day, the family heads out to buy a Christmas tree, and Mona notices a girl in a red dress, sensing that something is amiss. During dinner, their daughter brings up Zoe, mentioning her name being written in the closet. Mona also recalls seeing photos in the hallway that spark her curiosity. Abruptly, Jones arrives and confronts William about the cloning procedures he performed on his wife and kids. Jones reveals his intention to exploit the technology for military purposes and insists on obtaining the algorithm necessary for cloning. He demands William hand over the algorithm. William arrives, holding the memory drive, but instead of complying, he injects Jones with a sedative, rendering him unconscious. William then proceeds to destroy the drive containing the algorithm by microwaving it. Mona, once again concerned about Zoe, prompts William for an explanation. William reveals that Zoe is their daughter, but due to specific circumstances, she couldn't be brought back, so he erased her memory from their minds. Urgently, William urges them to leave the house immediately. As Jones attempts to eliminate them, William quickly gathers the memory drives of everyone and exits the house from the back, grabbing a car to escape. Jones regains consciousness later, realizing the drive has been destroyed. He commands his team to pursue them. William informs Mona that they're being tracked via implanted devices in their bodies. Mona suggests heading to a clinic. At the clinic, Mona uses defibrillators to deactivate the trackers, rendering them untraceable. Meanwhile, one of Jones's men arrives at the clinic searching for them, but discovers the disabled trackers. He contacts Jones to relay the news. William rushes to the dock to take Ed's boat for escape. However, while William searches for the boat keys, Jones's men suddenly appear, taking his wife and children before leaving. Jones brings them to a laboratory, where Mona deduces that Ed had disclosed their location to Jones. Upon reaching the lab, William confronts Jones, revealing that the algorithm resides in his own mind, attempting to coerce William into cooperation. In a brutal act, Jones kills Ed, compelling William to comply and hand over the algorithm. Placing the gadget on, Jones starts crafting the algorithm, unaware that William is covertly transferring his own memories into Project 345. As William activates Project 345, the robot breaks free from its confines. William passes the drive to Jones, urging him to release his family, but Jones adamantly refuses. Unexpectedly, the robot arrives, prompting the guards to open fire. Swiftly, the robot eliminates all the guards and targets Jones, who is with his wife and children. William, initially set to depart, has a change of heart and returns to the lab. Witnessing the robot choking Jones, William intervenes and halts its actions. Jones warns William about an impending threat, but William proposes they collaborate for mutual gain from the technology. As Jones passes away, Robot William proceeds to transfer Jones's memories into a drive. Meanwhile, William's family joyfully spends time on the beach. William presents Zoe's clone to Mona, bringing her immense happiness. In Dubai, Jones welcomes a sick man, leading him to a room where the robot awaits to transfer his memories into a clone.